Good day, my good citizens. I thought I might try this unscripted. The last version of these was really quite heavily scripted, so let's fuck about a bit, right? Most of you will probably know from the last video I made at the start of 2021 that I made kind of a statement piece about where I want to go in the channel and what I want to do going forward. And I thought it'd be interesting just to do a little sit-down review, just us two, and figure out how we did. And because not all the goals were achieved, but at the same time, some other new goals or side goals or extra things just sort of happened in the middle. So in the words of Good Mythical Morning, let's talk about that. In the words of Phil DeFranco, let's jump on into it. Okay, let's break this down point by point. Firstly, the big one. The concept of going professional in 2021. That didn't happen, did it? No, not at all. I am nowhere near being able to make a professional living out of my YouTube channel, and nowhere near at on my Twitch channel either. Nowadays, the media environment's kind of weird. Especially for gaming creators, which is the most saturated market. Video essayists can cheat and get away with things like just YouTube. Talk shows and whatnot can cheat and get away with just Twitch. Gaming, we have to kind of symbiotically go between the two. Especially because I refuse to do the TikTok-y kind of stuff. I'm just not hip with it, guys. I'm sorry. I'm really not. Also, I am not hot and cannot dance, which definitely hinders my chances on the platform. With that said, though, I'm actually totally fine with this. Granted, I still want it as a long-term goal because, well, bugger me, I've found that I really like making content for people. Something which I'd kind of lost touch with over the last few years. And I kept sort of having these yo-yos back and forth, but nowadays I really actually enjoy the process again. Granted, it's great to get a little bit of pocket money and a little bit of acknowledgement and generosity from the fans, and thank you so much to the folks on Patreon, the folks on YouTube memberships, the folks on Twitch, with the bit donations, with the subscriptions, with the donations, straight out through PayPal. Anyone who does anything, thank you crazily for your insane generosity. I honestly don't deserve it. I mean, I've made... Hang on, I'm literally going to go and live check this. I could edit this bit out, but I'm not going to. I don't deserve this because I've made 14 videos over the last year. And that is even including 2 of which are shitty shorts and 1 of which is just an update. So actually, I've made maybe 11, 12 at most. I haven't earned a cent of that, so it must be on pure generosity, and for that, I will always be grateful. Whew, right, now the bugbear's out of the way, we can move on to the actually interesting stuff for a content-consuming audience. I'm going to take these ones slightly out of order. In the original video, it was Shadow of War first, and then XCOM. I'm going to switch them around. XCOM, you will know by now, finished. It actually finished. I aired the last episode on my birthday, July 12th. It's been really nice to have that series done. That series was part of why I was starting to lose touch with the fun of editing, because funnily enough, having to come up with interesting sound effects, cuts, edits, etc. every few seconds of hours upon hours of footage because the game was so laggy, broken, and slow wasn't fun. I'm gonna just say it. It was not fun to make. It was fun to tell the story. I'm really glad I got through it. It was a great fun project to work on in terms of collabs and the weird shit of the cursed dimensions of my brain that I brought to life in the character creator, and still do to this day, but I'll get to that later. But the bottom line is, XCOM is now done. Next, Shadow of War. How to explain this one? It hits a bit of a snag. When doesn't it? But this one is one I've never encountered before. I went to go and start editing the next episode. There's only about 10 minutes of it. Because there's only about 10 minutes of footage left. I finally run out of 2017 footage. I'm going to need to go off and actually record some. I will be doing that, but it's a little bit slower in coming because of that. And because of some meta-narrative shenanigans that I'm going to be weaving in now that we're in the modern day. I don't know how I'm going to make that work in Shadow of War, but I intend to try. Now, with Shadow of War adequately covered, at the start of this year, I spoke of what I called the 3-prong system. That was going to be high edit videos, low edit videos, and streams. Well, it turns out that I didn't do any of that. That was definitely something that I screwed up, but that's mostly because I misjudged the timeline and I didn't realize how bloody long it was going to take to finish XCOM Modded Beyond Reason. I had intended to finish both series, but I managed to get the larger bugbear one out of the way. I consider that a win. So with that in mind, please behold the new, slightly overhauled system 2022. First and foremost, YouTube-wise anyway, finishing Shadow of Bloody War. I have some plans. which means that I have to bite the bullet and actually go and talk to people who are far larger than myself, and I don't really know how that's going to go. So it's very tempting to procrastinate away from this one, but I do want to see Shadow of War done at least in the first half of 2022. Please, for the love of God, it's been years. It needs to be allowed to die. And I just realized I said all that about a game which literally won't let you die. God damn it. The second part will still be low edit content. I do still want to go back to making this. Things that just aren't really suitable to stream, where I can just make a YouTube video on them and it just works. Think more Mr. Boring plays Salt and Sanctuary. I know nobody watched that, but if you want an example of what I'm on about, that would be that. This is where things start to change though, with the third part, which is the high edit videos. The high edit videos I want to split into two types. Typical high edit videos, which will be more for games that befit high editing or that I just feel like doing high edited content on. The other side of that coin though, and these are kind of like a rare spawn version of the high edit ones. This is what I'm dubbing the Beyond series, as in a spin-off from Modded Beyond Reason. That was the entire reason for Modded Beyond Reason's ending. I'm saying the word reason so many times that it's just not sounding like a word anymore. They will barely ever show up, so I wouldn't worry about this if you don't know Modded Beyond Reason or couldn't care less about the meta-channel narrative, etc. Don't worry about all that, because these are going to turn up so bloody rarely, it probably won't even matter. Funnily enough, that's what happens when you try and make gaming videos which involve editing to the extent of being able to inject new plot that was never there to begin with, and also asking Ed to write, which he is not good at, so it takes him a while. Then switching back on stuff we have already talked about, we have streams, twitch.tv/editedward. Yes, it's the full words because I wasn't allowed to put a colon inside of the title for Twitch, and I think that underscoring it looks weird. I have finally reached a point where I have enough technology and enough understanding of said technology to be able to start recording these for VODing and chopping up the audio tracks correctly. If anyone has wondered why my previous streams, I know there's not too much bleed over between the YouTube audience and the Twitch audience at the moment, but any of you who are around, if you've wondered why you haven't seen VODs of some of the really early streams like Hades and whatnot, that's because I just didn't understand from a technical perspective how to record them in a fashion where I could chop up the audio. And because I'm a complete sound freak, I like being able to control the audio. I don't like the idea that there'll be just parts of the video where you just can't hear me because the game's too loud, or you can't hear the game because I'm too loud, and I have no ability to turn them up and down at will. However, I have the hardware, I have the kit, and I have the know-how, so I'm starting to be able to, yes! And that means exactly what you would think it does, that from hopefully now on, I'll start being able to, I can't promise I'll do all of them, but I will have at least recorded VODs that I can then chop up and turn into YouTube VOD content. I've already got a dedicated channel for that, and that will be unedited. I'll try and put a link in the description below if YouTube allows me. So that will be another further type of content, though it will be on technically another channel. If anyone's interested in the kind of shit I have completed on stream thus far, so far, Yakuza 0, Yakuza Kiwami 1, and currently working on Yakuza Kiwami 2. We completed Chroma Squad, which I am slowly in the process of VODing. I had none of the technology, so all of the audio is baked into a single file, and it's a right bastard and pain in the ass to edit, and I don't like the fact that I can't adjust my volume separately, and it hurts. But if anyone's interested in that, yep, that existed. The Adventures of In Character Form, I stress to add this because I am not anywhere near big enough to collab with these people genuinely. Edited, Seth Orvan, Tear of Grace, a beaver named Jeeves, and Lanup Gomez. We've also completed Dark Souls 3, heavily modded. I'm currently doing another run of that using a different set of overhaul mods. And Google Translate, which has been absolutely bloody hilarious. And yes, of course, Bontingdu Black Firebomb to my brothers in chat. Quick firing through the rest: The Darkness 2, Subnautica, Inscription, Oxenfree, Hades, Soul Calibur 6, the Creator Soul mode, which chat just turned me into a JoJo character. I'm not kidding, they dressed me as a fucking Joestar and it was brilliant. Maze, which is honestly one of the funniest games I've played this year. Onimusha Warlords, only as a gateway drug to Onimusha 3, one of the most batshit games from my childhood, which I was so glad to share with everybody. If you ever need just an injection of 90s stupid gaming cheese, French actor Jean Reno motorcycling through feudal Japan to ramp off of a dock onto a ship manned by demons after fighting a man with an electric spear. Shit's insane, mate, and I love it. Oh, and he's voiced by Leon Kennedy. for some reason. And then last off the top of my head, I think Salt and Sanctuary, Indivisible, Griftlands, and Owlboy. At the moment, I'm also working my way through It Takes Two with my friend Rakan, and with good buddy Lucian, I have a monthly D&D session going, which live streamed by both of them respectively, but I do host them to try and remind people to head on over there. And, of course, who can forget, recently completed Sonic 06 from start to finish in one sitting again. It was 15 hours of my life that I will never get back, and I'm not sure I want to. I think I'm getting addicted to the pain. I'm considering making this a yearly tradition now. Oh dear. But if that sounds like your sort of thing, then please do by all means head on over. That's also going to be another avenue of content when it hopefully starts getting turned into VODs for people who can't catch it live, or that try and get, as I said, that symbiotic back and forth relationship between Twitch and YouTube going, which is kind of necessary to grow in the gaming sphere anymore if you're just a straight player and don't have the advantages of being rich, hot, or actually funny. On top of that, I would like to start trying to do a monthly YouTube live stream as well. I haven't got anything set up for this yet, so don't expect it to appear for a while, but I'm saying this so that hopefully I'll remember to do it next year, for God's sake. That makes sure, for one thing, that the robots remember that my channel actually is alive, even if I take a longish hiatus, because there'll then suddenly be several hours of content suddenly appear on the channel. And yeah, so aside from that and a few smaller personal projects, that's pretty much where I want to aim at. No grand goals like, oh, going professional and here's an exact breakdown of the numbers that we'd need to achieve. No, fuck all that, honestly. Oh, wait, no, that is the last one. Once Shadow of War ends, I still am I haven't abandoned this one. I'm still sticking to the I want to phase back or phase out, preferably, swearing in my videos. I'll find some creative substitute because I am, if you haven't noticed, one of those people who uses fuck like an adjective. So, weird tonal note to end this on, I'm aware of that, but I did say I'd go in unscripted. Thank you very much to anyone who's still here. Thank you very much for sticking by. And I'll see you in the new year as we move forward into the future and build our glorious empire together. Love you all, darlings. Twitchers, I'll see you on Twitch. And YouTubers, I will see you in the next episode of Shadow of War. In the literal sense of recording and in the sense of posting, whenever that is. And after that, well, I'll see you beyond. Mwah.